I am pleased to explain a little how is the process of pre-shipment inspection that is in place in Haiti. We were committed by the government of Haiti to take care of the pre-shipment inspection to verify values and harmonize system classification for the products for them to get the right assessment on duties to be paid by the importers. As you know, and you hear already, the environment, the business environment in Haiti is quite stressful for the people that is trying to go to the formal trade. And what we are trying to do with this is try to make a plain playing field on the values for everybody to have less unfair competition while supporting the revenue for the government. Okay. Well, first I'm going to start with a brief introduction of the company. We were founded in 1878 in France. Basically, our business was to monitor the trade of the grains in Europe. After implementing certain inspection systems, we expanded to different industries and started growing. After that, in 1981, we decided to go public. And now we are a worldwide company that I would say is the biggest company of inspection and verification in the world. And I'm going to show you what are our areas of expertise. Okay, we do inspection, tests, verification, certification. We do some formation, counsel, and delegation. Our presence is worldwide. We're the world leaders with over 80,000 employees in the world. We handle 1,650 laboratories and offices worldwide. And we are working on 13 different industrial sectors. And normally in our local offices, we have local expertise to support all the trade. These are all the industries that we are involved. We specifically are working under the public sector industry. We support all the governments in different areas. One of them is the pre-shipment inspection. Other ones are, we do scanner services with risk management for the customs and safety for security, and in the case of exports going to the U.S., let's say, to reach the Container Security Initiative. We do trade community networks like a single windows, and countries that are not capable to do it by themselves. That accelerates a lot of the trade process. We have a product conformity assessment programs in different countries, especially in Africa and the Arab countries, when we are taking care of the conformity of the products previous to the shipment to avoid any trade barrier when the cargo arrives to the destination and is returned because it doesn't feel the conformity needs of the product at the moment that it's arriving. And we also have a service that is called TransitNet and transit management, when we are monitoring the movement of cargo through the borders in landlocked countries, okay? And that advanced cargo information and cargo tracking, those are two different, very interesting services. Advanced cargo information is providing the same way that the exporters are declaring the merchandise for statistical purposes in the country of origin. Is a service that is sending similar information to the importing countries so the customs authorities can do a risk profiling of the merchandise before arriving and expediting the clearance process. And then the cargo tracking is related to securing the cargo that is loaded in a container or a truck to ensure that it's not deviated on the road on the way, and cargo is either stolen or replaced before arriving to destination. Well, now what is our mission in Haiti? Our mission is to provide technical assistance to customs administration ensure the compliance to regulation for imports, insert the term of the correct fraudulent practices, which is very important after the mature contract, like the one that we have with Haiti over 10 years. It is pretty much the people that is going through the formal trade, they already built up a level of confidence that whoever is trying to get into the system, into the imports, and is out of this loop, is automatically discouraged, because they know that they're going to get a new wall on it, and it's basically supporting the formal trade. Okay. Obviously, we are promoting the transparency and in the trade, and we are building up a very powerful tool of database for customs authorities, so they can do comparisons with transactions that are not going through the process. Even though that the process I'm going to explain now is starting from basically any merchant that is coming over $5,000, there are many of transactions that are split in small shipments to avoid going through us. But these databases are supporting customs to do the matching of the prices. Okay. Well, basically, there is another layer. It's a layer in between $3,000 and $5,000 where the merchandise that is going to be imported in Haiti, because all this is done locally, okay, needs to be registered for statistical purposes only. So the government knows that there are small transactions that are coming into the country, even though they are not going to be go under the PSI program. Okay. Okay, this is I'm going to explain the process. Okay. The importer must submit to SGS an intention of import of the merchandise that it consists of the pro forma provided by the supplier, and the declaration how it's going to be shipped, the description of the merchandise with the harmonized system code, and the Incoterms completely declared on it. And we generate what is called a DPI, declaration prior to import, that is going to be the reference number for that specific transaction. Okay. Based on that information, we are going to define, based on assessment, risk assessment, for most of the exports at the beginning from the Trinidad, since it's a new market, it will be a complete intervention. But based on risk assessment, after a few transactions, we decide if we need to inspect the merchandise or it will be only a documentary verification. Okay? Our mission is basically validate the prices for export, no transaction value. Unfortunately, it's not yet under the transaction value, but the Brussels definition of valuation, which means fair market value of the merchandise. Okay? Meaning the price that is freely available to any importer of the same product at the same level in the country. Okay? We validate the customs classification to ensure that it's going to get the proper tariff, and provide to customs with the clean report of findings if everything is within the required documents, or an anomaly report that can be either because the documents are not complete or because the product that was presented doesn't match what was supposedly to be shipped to the importer. So we are also protecting the importer at the moment that we do the pre-shipment inspection to ensure that they are not getting a wrong product. I'm going to here. This is the form that needs to be filled by the importer along with the pro forma. Okay. Let me go back. I can open it up. Well, you can see it's a very simple information, but it have all the basic information linked to the transaction. Is the importer with the NIF information, the import tax information, the seller information, meaning the company and a address and a contact person with especially with the email and fax number, because we need to send some documents to them. Okay. Then the Incoterms, the pro forma that is linked to that transaction, the Incoterms, and the meaning of shipment. Is it ocean by air? Is it going to be multimodal or whatever? If it's going to be bulk or containerized also. And the goods descriptions, if there are more than 3 or 4 items, I would strongly recommend, well, I recommend to importers to attach an Excel table to avoid problems there. And then, well, basically, that's all the information required to create a DPI, that is a transaction reference number. Okay? Here, I want to stress this, that sometimes it's a blocking factor, okay, for the importer to open the DPI. If they don't have a right information in the description, the creation of the DPI will be rejected. Because in order to do a right assessment on the values and the classification, you need to know exactly what is going to be shipped. Okay? There are many countries in the world when you need to have a specific fields detailed on the invoice, and eventually even a harmonized system code declaration. Okay? But that is not the case in Haiti. In Haiti, basically accept any description in any language, which is terrible for databases. As you can imagine, it's a nightmare trying to match a product in 4 different languages without any reference number. So we stress the fact that we need to have basic but accurate information. This case is a transaction from here. As you can see, it was a very nice $1.2 million. Okay. Is rebars, construction steel, but you see the generic brand, the generic product is there, and then the 4 different items is the thickness and the standard. That is more than enough to identify the product. Okay? Something that is also very important, most of the cases the Haitian importers are buying either CFR or CIF. Okay? They don't like, normally, you must agree with me, Digan, okay? They don't like to deal directly with the payment of freight. Don't ask me why, okay? But I think they are assuming that the exporter may have better rates because they have volumes. It's very important for us at the moment that they open the DPI that this information, the breakdown of the information is declared. Because even though that we report to customs at the CIF level, okay, we need to have the FOB value. That is the value that we use to match prices in the market. CIF, if you want to match prices CIF, you have a different values on the freight that can distortion information. So we use a parameter of FOB to do the matching and the value in the market. And customs also require a breakdown at the moment that you fill out the customs declaration. So it's very, very important that if your transaction is CFR or CIF, you add the breakdown on your pro forma, the pro forma that you are providing to the importer. Then, whenever the DPI is already open, this is a document that you are going to receive as exporter to fill out and request the inspection in case that is required, okay? Here you can see that it says that will be inspected prior to shipment, okay? That is a situation when our risk assessment determines that it's going to be a control complete, meaning that we are going to do inspection and verification of the merchandise. Okay, you will read that in the document that you receive. Here are the documents that we are going to ask in order to issue a certificate, like the final invoice, insurance certificate. That is not 100% mandatory, neither the certificate of origin, because at this moment there is no enforcement with the CARICOM, okay? The freight invoice technically should match the breakdown, because the breakdown that you put on the invoice, because normally when you sell CFR or CIF, the bill of lading is not going to come rated. So we need to rely on any document that is coming from the shipping line that shows the values. And the bill of lading and the tail packing list, especially the packing list, is going to be very important in the cases that we do documentary verification, because we need to report the packages and the weight correctly. And since we are not going to inspect the merchandise, we don't know how it's being shipped. We need to get a detailed packing list in order to provide the right information on the certificate. Export price list and discount structure, I will not really consider that as a mandatory. You need to provide some pricing support, okay? I will show you later. But in the export price list at this time, the export price list doesn't exist actually, okay? I don't think there's any company that is using an export price list to sell to different countries, because you need to play with the discounts. So it makes no sense for me to receive an export price list that is going to come with a declaration that says the discount for this country is 35%. How I'm going to prove that? Okay? This is information that the reference offices, meaning this is going to be your contact office. Okay, you have the SGS Trinidad in this case. That's going to be your contact office. And the main contact office for the buyer is our office in Port-au-Prince. This is the part that I said is more important for the evaluation, okay? Here you need to fill out the trade level of the importer, if it's known by you. The trade level of the exporter is either manufacturer, supplier, trader, whatever. If there are any durable discounts in your pro forma, okay? If there are commissions, all the details. That goes up to the point that you eventually may need to report any royalties or license fees for merchandise. Let's say you are bringing products to be finalized there, okay? But to stay in the country, not for export, okay? And you need to you are sending patterns or something, you need to report that, because it's going to be deducted from the taxes and all at the time that we do the comparison. There, after you request inspection and our inspector goes, it starts the process of finalizing the certification for the importer, okay? When you receive the confirmation that the inspection was satisfactory, eventually you may have a non-satisfactory inspection, okay? And you can liaise with our office in Trinidad, and they will explain to you what needs to be done. Eventually, it's an approval from the importer, because the product that you're presenting ends with a B instead of an A, okay? And with an approval from the importer, there is no problem, and the transaction is granted. But there are some cases when you have products that are expired or about to expire, and that is a blocking factor, okay? Well, after that process is done and you ship the cargo, you can access our system. There's a link, okay, to follow up the status of the transaction, just to make sure that the importer is going to have the certificate at the time that the merchandise arrives, to avoid delays and demurrage at the port, okay? You link you're going to click here, I hope that we will be able to send this presentation to all the participants, okay, so they can have access to this. Then when you click there, you will select Haiti and go to public tracking. Under public tracking and Haiti, you just enter your reference number, your information, the invoice and the date. Then the DPI number have to be clicked. You may have more than one, okay, at any given moment. And you will see what's the status. You see here that this intervention level was the inspection. There was a reduced level of inspection because it's a reliable study. When it was done, and the documents that are received, the certificate was issued this day and was reopened for amendment for any reason. Okay, and this is another partial, and you see the information is there. You have a satisfactory without problem. And here you have received this document that is still pending official. Okay, so you can follow up, and if you see that any of the names of the documents required that are the final bill of lading, final bill of lading, the final invoice, and the freight invoice, one of them is missing, you know that you need to send it to support your importer. The importer we need to have all this information in line in order to provide this with the certificate to the importer. Okay, well, basically that is the process. Is simple if you understand it. Okay, the problem is that most of the people doesn't understand how to process and why we do this. And normally we are considered a blocking factor, but at the end you will see that when your product is already in the market and you are dealing with a state importer, this will be a tool to open the doors for your product within the market, because you will not have to fight with the other competitors. Now I'm going to show up what is done with certificate actually, okay? We issue a certificate, give it to the importer, who put this together with all the other documents, present it to customs, or, which is the most common in Haiti, everything is done through the custom broker. He receives all the documents, present all the documents, all the forms to customs. The inspection verification is done by customs. They prepare an invoice, and the goods are released and delivered to the importer. Okay, basically we are another document required for clear customs, but it goes through a whole process. Here we have a very good office that my colleague Rommel eventually can be your contact, okay, to do the coordinations. And I have been involved for so long in Haiti that I can tell you whatever my friends say is they are getting short to the market that you have there. Okay, the market in Haiti is huge, is growing, and I think that the controls at the border are going to be in place very soon. We are even proposing to monitor certain areas that are very open with drones, okay, to control the crossing of trucks during the night and this splitting of shipment from big trucks to small trucks to move into the country. We are proposing in the central part of Haiti and Dominican Republic border to work with drones. To support customs, we are going to work together with customs in the main crossing point um, to work together in the transfer of cargo from big trucks to small trucks, but officially in Malpass. We are going to work together with them. We are going to do 100% inspections of all the trucks that are going to be in the process of transfer, and the willingness to control the border is there. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. When? God knows. It may take time, but the willingness to do it is there, and we want to be part of this process of transition, and we are trying to modernize a little more the customs authority. We are trying to push for more electronic means of controls, less inspections, because the inspection is a waste of time sometimes, especially when you already know the parties. Okay, there is no reason for us to block the trade. We are doing that because the technology is not there yet. So we are forced to do these things to support customs, but we are pushing for more technology. We are pushing for this advanced cargo information, that we can do the risk assessment during the transit instead of doing inspections. And the idea will be to do destination inspection for no more than 10% of the cargo, and the rest should pass through on a green channel. But in order to do that, you need to have the tools available, and we are pushing for it because, unfortunately, Haiti customs is still very conservative, for say the less. But again, I want to stress the fact that it's a big market for you guys, and being part of the Caribbean community, you have a great opportunity to invest and to do business with Haiti.